if we live in a community wherein we're blessed with sea, rivers, meadows, and trees, we just try to disregard these beautiful things. And it's only through a visual arts workshop wherein you go out and revisit the environment that you're in, and you'll begin to observe the trash, you'll begin to observe the power of nature, you'll begin to observe the beauty of nature, and how lucky you are that you have such things in your community. So that was really the most precious lesson that we had given them, revisiting their environment and being more aware of how the environment and the skills that they've learned from the SOA can help them achieve a good, healthy mental life. No? So, especially this time of the pandemic, most of the kids are just playing with their cell phones, viewing movies, playing with the computer. But with the SOA, they were given the chance. They were actually forced to go out of their house and revisit the beauty of the nature that is around them.
Welcome to Breaking Silos Collective, the show where we inform you how to break silos and why it actually matters. My name is Doris Carini. I'm the co-host of today's show, and I'm also the Europe ambassador of the East-West Center Experiential Professional Development Program. This episode is one that is 1 out of 15 produced with the East-West Center, and we are interviewing our Innovation for Sustainable Development Fellows. The fellows are usually in the fields of arts, education, health, disaster resilience management, and climate change, and they are from various countries worldwide. On the show today, we have our fellow Dr. Christina Gabrillo from the Philippines and her colleague Jude Nonie from the Philippines. We are going to learn about their project called the Radio School Project on Visual Arts at the Visayas State University. And you can already see in the backgrounds with the beautiful paintings there, just one out of many that came out of those beautiful programs that they are leading. A little bit about Christina. She's the fellow of the Innovation for Sustainable Development Program. Dr. Christina Gabrillo is the associate professor and head of Department of Development Communications. She is also the brain behind the project, and she's an educator, researcher, and leader of many, many years. She, for example, also was the radio station manager of DYDC-FM for over 8 years. And her leadership journey also took her to Hawaii, where she did the Asia Pacific Leadership Program. And that program, she quickly had a proposal together and got it funded for her community radio drama on disaster preparedness, which was launched in December 2019. And today she will explain a little bit more about her current project, the Radio School Project on Visual Arts. That's why we also have her colleague Jude Nonie on the show. I also welcome him, and he is an assistant professor and the head of Culture and the Arts Center. Jude is also a trained botanist, a development communicator, a visual artist, and he teaches graduate and undergraduate students and is currently completing his Doctor of Philosophy. I want to hand it over to both of you now to share with us some more insights about this visual arts program that you're leading. Thank you for being on the show, Christina and Jude.
Okay, thank you so much for that sweet, I would say sweet introduction, Doris. Well, the School on the Air project, as what you mentioned, came after the radio drama project on disaster preparedness that got funded by EWC last year. No, so that was an offshoot of my APLP training in the East-West Center in Honolulu, Hawaii, USA. So, what was the project? It was a We came about this school on the air on visual arts. Initially, we both Jude and I conceptualized it, and it's just that by just scribbling for a page, we came up with this. I think a very short, like 5 pages proposal that we submitted to EWC, and then I was very happy when I got that information that it was approved. And so, why radio? Actually, it's the field that I love doing because I'm a radio broadcasting teacher here at the Devcom department at Visayas State University, and it's always my passion to reach out more people in the farthest villages here in this part of Leyte, and even in southern Leyte, which is the second province that we did with the SOA. So for now, even if we have this media convergence, it is still acknowledged that radio is still the most pervasive medium. No? And in a cheaper way that we produce this one, we can reach as far as many or millions of people. But for this School on the Air project, since it's just like an education, but it's a non-formal education, wherein the students or the participants are enrolled. So some sort of like, we call it a private group, but since we use radio as the medium, then for those who have access to radio, like that we can reach with our frequency, which is 104.7. 1449 was before our previous frequency, since we had it with AM now. So the radio station is more than 30 years already. So it's a community radio, and I happened to manage it for 8 years. So we thought of using and maximizing this potential of radio to reach out to those secondary teachers teaching MAPE. So it's not only the teachers, but the students themselves. So at first, we just thought of molding the visual skills of the students, but we were requested that why not include the teachers, because the students will just come and go and the teachers will be there forever. So why not also teach them, because the teachers teaching visual arts are not visual experts. So why not? So we entertained that idea, and we included in the final implementation of the project the MAPE teachers. And now, so since our university belonged to the CHED, we call it the Commission on Higher Education, so CHED, but these these high school students belong to DepEd. We call it the Department of Education. So we are kind of like stretching our hand, reaching out to them so we could also equip them, capacitate them with the knowledge and skills of visual arts. But it's not plainly equipping them the visual arts skills, but also doing sketching and drawings for a purpose. And what is that purpose? To promote, especially at this time of pandemic, wherein we're having this global crisis, we also would like to help our students to maintain or keep themselves healthy when it comes to mental health. And then also, since we cannot really prevent any disaster to come to us, like for example, we in the Philippines we're always visited by like an average of 22 typhoons per year. So we also would like to promote environment, how to protect it. No, so that's why it is a drawing, sketching for 2 noble causes, and that's mental health and environmental protection.
I was curious to hear what Jude would say, how he teaches it, right? If I was a student somewhere in your community, how would I actually be following your guidance, and how will I know it's about environment and the mental health as well?
Okay, so for the school on the air, many people were asking, how can you teach visual arts through radio?
Yeah.
So radio right now is not the kind of radio that we have 20 years ago, but we have what we call as internet radio or digital radio, where we can integrate Facebook Live or Zoom feeds to our broadcast. So we utilize this new technology as well as radio to share the concept, teaching visual arts to our children, especially high school, senior high school, junior high school, and senior high school students, as well as their teachers. So the activities in our school in the air on visual arts focus on themes about the environment. So it's expected that during the lessons, the themes of the drawings and paintings are focused on the environment and mental health. So we are already aware that visual arts is a technique or a method for relaxation, to give people a relaxation if they are depressed or if they're anxious. So we recommend visual arts for people who wants to express their inner feelings. So along with their paintings and drawings, Christina, have not mentioned yet to you that along with the paintings and drawings, we also taught the kids how to write poetry and essay about their drawings and paintings. So they tried to describe the drawings and paintings to us through their poetry and essays. So this tries to confirm what is the meaning behind the painting or the drawing, because the student or the teacher might have a different interpretation from the viewers like us. So the poetry and or the poem and the essay actually provided us a glimpse of their inner feelings. So we try to balance not only the visual aspect, but also the text, no? What the backstory behind the painting or the drawing. So most of the time, whenever we have exhibits, I always try to tell my students to include a card at the back of the painting to describe the painting if a collector or a buyer wants to buy the work. So most of the time, people better appreciates a painting or a drawing if they know what's in the heart and mind of the artist when the work was conceptualized and produced. So that's how we try to manage the lessons during the SOA.
That's beautiful. How many students have joined your project and teachers?
So there are two schools division that are involved in this project. One is by City Division, and the other one is Southern Leyte Division. So meaning by City and Leyte. So there are two provinces, Leyte and Southern Leyte. So for Leyte, we have by City, and for Southern Leyte, we have the Southern Leyte Division. And there are 120 students or participants that are enrolled in the SOA, but there were two who were not able to make it in the graduation. So all in all, there were 118 participants of the SOA, and more are. If I can give you a little backgrounder for by division, with their ages, so meaning for City Division, there are 60, so and another 60 for Southern Leyte Division. So for division, the ages range from 12 to 42, with a mean age of 17. And most of them are of junior high school, junior. So these are the second year first year and second year, because the senior high are third year and fourth year. Okay, for gender, there are more female participants in by division. And when we look at the pre-test and post-test, we can see that they are really, for mental health, they really are answering yes, that they think that mental health problem is now common in their communities. And for the paired sample t-test, it resulted that although there was an increase in the scores for the pre-test and post-test of their knowledge on, the first one is mental health, second is knowledge on environmental protection, and the last one is their knowledge on visual arts. So for Bye-Bye City Division, there was no significant, shall we say, though there is an increase of the respondent score from pre-test to post-test, there is no enough evidence or no significant difference that came out, no, from the paired samples test. For Southern Leyte Division, their ages also the same, from 12 to 42 range, but their mean age is 18, and mostly are also of junior high school, and then majority are female. And for the pre-test and post-test, to the question, do you think mental health problems are common in your community? Majority answered yes. And but in the paired samples test in Southern Leyte Division, we could see that there was a highly significant increase when it comes to the visual arts knowledge, no? And I think this is just a rational background, because the top 3 teachers and the top 3 students belong to the Southern Leyte Division. So all those top 3, and then that's why they garnered all the awards, and even the cash awards of 20,000 pesos. And they had their medals and their certificates. So there was a highly significant increase when it comes to their knowledge on visual arts from the pre-test to post-test. And then there was also a significant result when it comes to their environmental knowledge and environmental protection knowledge, but not so significant on their mental health knowledge. So if you can see, I also, when it comes to the pre-test versus post-test, I can see in the graph, no, that the visual arts in the pre-test for both divisions, Bye-Bye City and Southern Leyte, they really had a small, shall we say, a little knowledge on visual arts. That's why we're able, we could see, we're so fulfilled when we see their drawings, because now we couldn't, although in the pre-test and post-test, just very little, now we could see that there's enough, or shall we say, bigger, no, knowledge, because it can be seen in their outputs. So they really were able to absorb, no, the lessons given by Sir Jude, no, Salas, and the rest of the 2 resource persons. We have Ariana Luer, my G19 cohort, and Ma Marwen Castaneda, our licensed guidance counselor. So for the analysis of poem and drawing, I could maybe, if you will allow me to read a little on the summary, that majority for both divisions, majority of the poems were written in English, and they conveyed positive messages. So although these are not accurate measure of their mental health status, this could provide us a general assessment of how the youth position themselves in this global pandemic. We could see that they're willing to stand firm and strong in this trying time of the COVID-19. They are also acknowledging the current situation and choose to move forward with hope in their hearts that this pandemic will end soon. Some are actively looking for ways to relieve stress, such as enjoying nature's beauty, and the points generally convey how the youth are coping with the current global situation, that even when it's difficult, they can overcome the challenges that come with it. And for the drawing analysis, the artwork were focused on the artworks were focused on their perception of nature and the environment, and the two major themes reflecting the positive and negative, but there was only a little portion on the negative connotations that emerged among those drawings. So, like for example, there were more of the positive themes, like nature is calm and peaceful, nature's cleanliness is refreshing, and then nature stimulates excitement. So because they mentioned to us that when they look at the paintings or drawings of others, they are what excited to see how beautiful nature is, like the crashing waves and the gushing waters. So, and also nature offers hope and inspiration. So, and the only negative like connotation or perception of the drawing was that nature can be dangerous. So, yeah, it could be dangerous, especially that in their drawings, the tension exudes from the combination of dark colors, of clouds, movement of crashing waves, and strong winds that emphasize nature, strength, and danger. So these few artworks emphasize that while we drew hope from nature, if abused, it can unleash the power of terror.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was the analysis made for the drawing. So I think yeah, it's both a positive. It will give us both a positive and a negative, shall we say, realities. Because you know, if we don't take care of our nature, if we continue with like our illegal activities of illegal logging, illegal mining, no, these little contributions of people destroying our surroundings with waste and garbage, no, and even our oceans, our marine waters, we should take care of them, and we should also avoid those burning of our waste, because it will also destroy our ozone layer. So these little things that they said are very important for now, and you can see it in their drawings how they love to protect nature, and also in their poetry how they value taking care of themselves, especially at this time of pandemic wherein we really don't know what will happen to us in the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing those results. That's really impressive how you shared some of those comments, and also I like how you tie the poems and the journaling into this project. So it's not just visual arts, but it really helps the students to also use other means to express themselves, apparently. I'm curious, can you share with us a little bit more how the program was implemented? How long is the program, and how do students learn about it, and how can they sign up? And lastly, I heard you mention that some of them were even awarded a prize. How does that all work? If you could speak to that, please.
Okay, it's about 6 weeks, no? Mm-hmm. So it's 1.5 months of project implementation, wherein we meet through Zoom. Mm-hmm. The participants, because they are enrolled, we meet through Zoom for an hour, and that is 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. So for 6 weeks, okay. And accomplishing and with 6 modules. No, so but the first one, that's why we have this test on their knowledge when it comes to mental health. It was the first module. which have an input from a licensed guidance counselor, and there were activities on it. And then also for the poetry part, wherein they are encouraged to visualize through words their mental health status. And then for the second module was on environmental protection. So Ariana also gave inputs on that. What are the causes and problems of our environment? How do we cope with it? How do we protect it? Plus the basics in drawings and sketching. And Jude did the 4 modules on solely on the skills of visual arts. So for 6 weeks, 3 times a week, we're in the last day. So it's MWF. We're in on every Friday. We'll have the assessment. So we'll be giving quizzes, and then we'll be giving we'll be asking feedback as to how did the lesson go. So meaning since they are enrolled, so they have to partake in the quizzes, in the we call it exams, no? And then there's also the exercises that they need to accomplish. So it was very rigid, you know, and that's why we're so amazed when we look at their drawings and, oh my God, so they're able to do it and assimilate all those lessons. And one thing that, one factor is that all the lessons are in video format. So it's very hard to demonstrate visual arts if it's not seen. So using radio, that is live streamed through FB, because our frequency could not reach the Southern Leyte division. So it's quite like when you travel for 2 hours to go there. So we cannot reach because we only have a small kilowatt power. So it's just 1 kilowatt. So through the live stream FB Live, then they can participate in the lessons. And for those, if they cannot, for example, be present in the Zoom class, so they will just watch the FB Live. And they can also ask questions in there for the comment section. If they cannot do it in Zoom with the chat box, that they can raise immediately their questions after the lessons. And then so we did for the top 3 or the top 10. So we computed all their performance scores and their quizzes. So it's just like 10%, because we gave a bigger percentage on the visual arts, on their drawings, because that was this is the project on the visual arts. So that's 60% for their drawings, and we have the rubrics for that. So if they would like to ask, Mom, where did I go wrong? Why is it that I did not be part? I'm not part of the top 10. So we can show to them the lesson plan. The class record. So it's an Excel format wherein we computed their 60% of their drawing with the rubrics, and the evaluator is Sir Jude. And then for the 20% for their quizzes, so we use a Google Classroom for that. So it can automatically compute and add their scores. So we provided them the link, and they just answer those questions, and immediately they will get their score after when they send it to the Google Classroom. And another 20% was from the results of the 2 resource persons, because they have their own exercises, like Ma'am Marwin and Ariana. So we also give a 20% for that. So it's not that it's only the drawing that we are evaluating, it's all the performances in the classroom.
Yeah, maybe Jude, you can add your perspective from being the teacher.
Okay, so since SOA is in some sort of a classroom format, unlike ordinary art workshops wherein quizzes are not really included. So if you have participated in summer arts workshops, the resource speaker or the artist in residence won't hold any quiz for you. So you're just given most of your time to paint your your heart away for the whole summer for the module. But since this is a classroom environment, virtual classroom environment through SOA, one of that is we also would like to develop student artists who knows how to analyze and think. So not only artists who knows how to draw or paint, but also artists who knows how to think and be aware of the things that is happening around them. So I would just like to add up to what Christina has told you a while ago, that the drawings and paintings that they made actually trained them to be more critical in their observational skills about their environment. And if I analyzed 4 modules of their outputs, and I found out that as they move forward to the more advanced stages of the lessons, the more they are into making details of their environment. So just like telling them to draw rocks or rivers that are close by, starting with charcoal pencils and pencils, then progressing to colored oil pastels, then poster paints. You can really see the progress of both their skills and observational skills, the skills in using their hands as well as the skills in observation. So you can see that as they progress, the details of the rocks, the trees, the waves that they have drawn and painted become even more detailed. So even though some are not as skillful as the others, though their work is impressionistic in the way they present it, but you can really see that there is a change in observational skills, and they're more aware as they go out, because the exercises, in the exercises, they're required to go out of their rooms and houses to observe the natural environment outside their homes. So one teacher even said, one of the top 3 teachers said that he was asked by his students, why is he crawling on the beach? So he said, I'm crawling to get the best perspective of the rocks that I'm going to paint. So that's itself a good exercise in observation. So if they just try to disregard their environment before, they just treat it as ordinary, because if we live in a community wherein we're blessed with sea, rivers, meadows, and trees, we just try to disregard these beautiful things, and it's only through a visual arts workshop wherein you go out and revisit the environment that you're in, and you'll begin to observe the trash, you'll begin to observe the power of nature, you'll begin to observe the beauty of nature, and how lucky you are that you have such things in your community. So that was really the most precious lesson that we had given them, revisiting their environment and being more aware of how the environment and the skills that they've learned from the SOA can help them achieve a good, healthy mental life. So, especially this time of the pandemic, most of the kids are just playing with their cell phones, viewing movies, playing with the computer. But with the SOA, they were given the chance. They were actually forced to go out of their house and revisit the beauty of the nature that is around them. So you don't have to go very far and have vacations in other countries if you are aware of the beauty that surrounds you.
Nice. I can imagine the students crawling like little crabs, finding good things to observe. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also when I remember my arts classes, they were only like 1 hour a week, and there was one assignment, but we never had the chance to really like go in depth about 6 weeks, like you said, to really observe and work on one piece. So it seems to be a really good chance for young adults to get in touch with themselves and with nature. I'd like to take some questions from some of the cohort fellows. For example, Firth, also from the Philippines, he was wondering what role social media played in your project. I mean, you're trying to reach young adults, teenagers who are more on social media, but which role did it play for you besides using Zoom and the radio? How did you use, if so, social media?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, we created a Facebook group wherein they can also post their drawings after they finished it. And then there were those like they affirm each other and they said, wow. And then they just, the social media, I think, enhances no their confidence to do it better and to do it more because they could see other drawings of their classmates and they are comparing, oh my, so beautiful, the drawings of the students are more are better, they would say are better than those of the teachers. But they're really talented students, and that's why, but the teachers were really trying their best to do it also. So it just complements and it enhances the social media. But I think one really the main avenue for the main channel that we use is radio. And it's just now, since we have this media convergence, it's just a matter of combining all these potentials like radio, and then we have the internet radio, the Zoom for the platform, and also the video, because all the lessons are in video format. Thank you.
Good. And another question that was asked by one of your cohort fellows was actually from Tricia. She's also from the Philippines. And she was wondering what difficulties you encountered when implementing this project, and how did you cope with it?
Okay, Jude, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that. Okay. So the first concept about this project is that the workshop will be held live over live stream. So the lessons will be held in real time. But both Christina and I decided, as well as our technical team, decided that we have to pre-record the lessons because sometimes there are interruptions in the internet, and it would be difficult to to review the footages if it's not pre-recorded. So what we did is every weekend I have to pre-record my lessons with my assistant. So that's the problem about internet signal that is not stable. So uh, we, 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 we found ways actually after the first module to have it pre-recorded because we cannot really tell when a blackout will happen or interruption will happen. And that was in my fifth module, I think, that the internet was cut because there was a problem with the signal. But uh, we had a pre-recorded video and it helped us reschedule the presentation the following week, Monday. It happened on a Wednesday, so Friday is reserved for activities like quizzes, so it was not aired there. We aired it on the following week. So the students were actually excited to see the presentation because the students actually will log into to Zoom 30 minutes before the time of the class because they're very excited to listen to the next lesson. So that solved the problem actually using pre-recorded material for the lessons, and the live interaction happens after the broadcast of the pre-recorded video.
Great.
Maybe I could also add a little on that. When it comes to coordination, at first, for us, we did not imagine that we're able to do it like at this time of pandemic wherein we're having lockdowns. But we were able to have the courtesy calls with the two divisions, and then of course observing the health protocols. And because it's very difficult when you just do it virtually every time. So we did it initially with our courtesy calls, and then we talk about the memorandum of agreements, because we also put it on paper about their deliverables, what will be on our side, what we will do, and what could be their counterparts. And we're happy to know that they are having this be presented during the SOA graduation, their sustainability plan. So after the project, they will continue with cascading it to the, like, for those who were not able to participate, then they will allot a budget for that, so they could also cascade it to the elementary pupils. So it's not only high school students, but to the elementary pupils. So we're also excited to monitor that one. And what I could remember when it comes to difficulty, it's only at the start, no, when we did the first episode, because it was quite difficult, doing the video recording, the shooting, and at the same time editing it. No, we're all very busy, and it took us like 1 weekend to do it, just to come up with the first episode. And after that, we're able to adjust, and then Jude was right when we decided to pre-record all those lessons, and then we'll just interact live with the participants after every pre-recorded lesson.
Right. Always need a backup plan for good practice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious, and so was Ferb and some other members from your cohort, like Tinley from Bhutan. It's a difficult question, I think, and you spoke a little bit to it earlier, but how are you qualifying or quantifying the mental health and environmental management improvements of your projects and your students?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult question, but I'll try to answer it based on the results of the study, because it's not only plainly implementing the project, but we did a little research on it, and that's why we came up with those data analysis when it comes to the poetry. So when it comes to mental health, we look at the poems that they wrote, and then when it comes to environmental protection, we look at their drawings. Okay. As to how do they portray their drawing. So I believe I already mentioned to you the results. And I always believe that the final measure will be the sustainability of this project, whether they are keen on continuing it, and maybe putting an art exhibit with a cause, with a slant on mental health and environmental protection, and maybe seeing maybe later on their shall we say, launching of their book of poetry. So because I believe, I think the students are very much talented. They just have to discover and hone their skills, because there were really good poems that we discover, and their outputs, and also their drawings, as if that they are not amateurs already. There are some like a pro already after taking the SOA lessons. Yeah. So that's my answer for Finley's question.
Thank you. What is the plan how to move this project forward?
Since they presented to us their sustainability plan, so we would like to monitor that one and evaluate later on if there will be progress on it, and then if there are other activities that they will do when it comes to mental health, aside from their drawings and poetry, if there are other activities that they will create other than those expressions of art. So we would like to see that in these two divisions.
Yeah, maybe Jude, you could share with us a little bit more, since you were the teacher of the program and you were part of the progress that the students made when it comes to the visual pieces. Can you share some examples that help the viewers understand the connection and correlations between the impact and the progress the students made? Do you have some feedback to share or some observations being a teacher in the program?
Okay, so I can read what's in the mind of the students and how they and how the program impacted on them based on their feedbacks during the question and answer portion. After I deliver my lesson, we have a Q&A, and most of their questions are focused on certain techniques, and meaning they're really interested to improve their skills. No? So, and some of the students, when we did the interviews, when we went on our field work for the evaluation as well as interviews of some of our students and teachers, they were really excited to see us, to see the resource person in person. Okay, because they can only see me through the Zoom. And then uh, I was able to relate to them by presenting the lesson through outdoor sceneries. I don't present my presentation in the studio alone, but I really plan the lesson in such a way that the videos are being shot outdoors. So I paint beside the river. I paint under the trees so that the students will really feel that I'm really with nature, and I'm not just showing my hands alone, but I'm showing half of my body as I draw and paint so that they can see that I'm the one doing it and not only my voice talking about it. So I think the value of showing your sincerity as a teacher in teaching art, and showing students that you're also passionate about what you're sharing to them is in itself already a, a lesson on teaching them how to emulate and motivate them to acknowledge that they learn from a person who is also passionate about that particular topic. You know? So sometimes when they watch YouTube videos, for them it's not very personal because they can only see the hand of the resource person. So I think what they like about the SOA format that we did is we try to show ourselves like ordinary people, and we show them that we are just the boy next door or the girl next door, not the teacher facing in front of a chalkboard. So it's a welcome respite from the pandemic. No, so it's actually trying to draw them out from their regular classroom environment to outdoors, even virtually. So that connection was one of the secrets why the students were really trying their best to really finish the SOA with us.
Nice. And Christina, it's your second SOA project, School on the Air project. If we talk a little bit more about the radio portion, why did you initially choose radio as a format? You said you've more than 8 years experience being a station manager on the radio for the university. What is the particular positive thing about the radio as a medium in your community?
Yes, we. I think radio has is a very good tool when it comes to communicating for development, especially in remote villages and in rural areas. So we really still in the rural areas since although we have this internet already and this digital media, still the people are patronizing on radio.
Mhm.
So they make radio as part of their lives, daily lives. So when they wake up, when they go to bed, they're still listening to radio. So that's why we use radio, but it's not only audio this time because of the, I would say, the advent of this contemporary media now. We It's already a visual thing. So it's not only audio, but it's a visual thing because we can see it through the FB Live and then through the internet radio. But because of the FB Live, it's just very cheap. They can load like 2 pesos to have access to the Facebook Live.
Mhm.
So it's also good. It's a good way of reaching out to them and helping to them so they could also improve themselves when it comes to mental health, because really mental health is a big problem. Many have committed suicide already, and based on the testimonies of our participants, they said that they made the SOA. They made the SOA gave them time, gave them a productive time for them to concentrate on and focus on discovering their talents, as well as making their drawings reach out to millions of people, because it's we'll have the virtual gallery, and when we open it to the public, then others could also see it, and they are very much proud of their work. So that's why for us, it's really still radio is has the potent has the this great advantage of reaching out to those who have no access to information like mental health and environmental protection.
Beautiful. I'd like to ask you both, Christina and Jude, and that's a question we ask most of our guests on the show. What does it mean to you to break silos?
For me, breaking silos is unleashing the potentials of our SOA participants and their visual art skills for a purpose. Keep their mental health and promote environmental protection at this time of pandemic. That means education will still continue even when classrooms are being closed. We can still innovate and continue to learn from each other how to sustain life and nature. And also, for me, it is not how much we do for others that counts, but it is how much love we put into what we do. And according to Mahatma Gandhi, he said that we must be the change we want to see in the world. So if it's difficult for us to convince others, why not start it within ourselves? So that's what we always tell to our SOA participants. Why not start within you? So you can also move others, and you can also touch the lives of others. And breaking silos is just doing that mission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's now my turn.
Yes.
For me, breaking silos is discovering innovations, trying to adopt what is indigenous in our surroundings, and trying to tap the power of indigenous knowledge and develop innovations, share these innovations to your community, because sometimes people only try to disregard what is common to them and not discovering the diamond in the rough. So this SOA is actually discovering the diamonds in the rough. These are the students and teachers who have not unlocked their talents, and because of these innovations that we have developed through the SOA, we were able to help free themselves, discover themselves, and contribute to their own communities through their environmental awareness, as well as trying to make them healthy mentally, so that they can enjoy more of their time with their families and also experience the freedom even in the midst of the pandemic. So that's breaking silos for me.
Beautiful. Both of you, I also would like to know, what advice would you give someone who would like to start breaking silos in their own communities and continue with some good work towards sustainable development? Any advice and little information you can share how to get started or how to be successful in that field?
Based on personal experience, living in a rural community wherein many kids, young people, and even older adults don't have the opportunity to go to school, and also they're far away from the convenience and all those advances that urban areas have, and sometimes they don't have access to the basic services that most urban settlers have. And from my experience, the best way to break silos, for breaking silos, is to start with your community, with your own community. So from from my experience as an artist in my own city, we formed a visual arts group that tried to provide free workshops and trainings to both in-school and out-of-school youth, so that their talents and potentials in visual arts will be unlocked, and at the same time uh, uh, take them away from the different vices like drugs and alcoholism in their own communities. So it's just mere observing your own neighborhood. So you start with your own neighborhood, and you start there little, and gradually what you do is like a candle. So when you light one candle, then the others will share your candle, and then you will bring brightness to the whole community, and from your own community it will just spread around the world. You'll just be surprised that your innovation, or your the thing that you have started, has been duplicated in the different parts of the world.
Wow, I think Jude has said it all. But for me, I think we will just, if you are passionate to serve others, why not? So, since there's a saying also that you cannot give what you don't have. So if you feel and if you think that you have something to give, then give it generously, so that you are able to help others, especially those the most disadvantaged, the we call it the last, the least, and the lost, they would say. But at least, even how little contribution you have given, I think it will create a big difference already, and it will also radiate to other people, and those people who are passionate to help can also help others. So it's just lending a hand, giving it to those who are in need, and also helping them out discover their talents. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina and Jude, for your beautiful insights and the very inspirational and successful project. Congratulations to both of you for running this. And yeah, your talk really reminded me personally how to get better in touch again with my talents, possibly. And one time I had a friend who shared with me a quote saying, like, it's safe to shine your light, right? So whatever you have inside, feel free to share it with others. It will spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you also to our listeners today for watching. If you're curious to learn more about Christina and Jude's project, we have the links attached in the description box below. Feel free to share the episode with your friends and your network, and give us a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel for more interviews coming up. I thank you very much for watching, and I thank Christina and Jude for being on the show today, and I hope to see everyone soon again. Thank you. Mahalo.
Hello.